Welcome to Barnstable Today. I'm Nick Cortez. The 2010 midterm elections this past Tuesday was the big topic of conversation, not only in Barnstable, but in most communities across the nation this week. It's no surprise, then, that our daily talk show, Barnstable This Morning, became a venue for post-election reaction from town and state officials. And so, we kick off our weekly BTM highlight show with one such reaction. From Thursday, November 4th, here's Town Council President Fred Chirigotis' perspective on the campaign season, the election, and the defeat of the two local ballot questions on sewer expansion and private roads.
Well, nationwide, statewide, and of course in the town of Barnstable, we had, there was a great turnout of people, and there were a lot of issues, and people came out and their voice has been heard, no question.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think the universal comment I heard was, on Monday was, let's just get this over with. Let's go to vote and put it all to rest. It was a very difficult, I wasn't campaigning, but I was listening and participating, and it was very difficult for everybody, I think. And what I did hear from, I think it was Charlie Baker, who said in his concession speech, now it's time that we all pull together and get ourselves, work our way out of the doldrums. We work together to do something positive, and I think that was the best message I heard come out of this whole thing.
Now, I have to ask your reaction to the overwhelming defeat of the two local ballot questions for sewer expansion and private roads.
Well, I think that those were fairly well expected. I mean, I heard councilors who were sort of upset, and it was difficult that the information was we were unable to put out the information that was necessary for people to really look at what the issues were. We still have not received report back from the state Office of Campaign Finance or the Ethics Commission on whether or not we can produce the informational ballot that we've made, whether or not we can issue it. I'm sure it's going to come back and they're going to say, oh yeah, this is fine. Mm-hmm. We really need to be understanding how important the protection of our water is, and the effects of our lack of protection on the water. Private road issue is an issue that a lot of people don't understand, but, under state law right now, the town should not be, it actually cannot repair or improve private roads without issuing a bill to the people who live on them. So, fortunately in the town of Barnstable, we have gone out and done a fairly good job of trying to keep roads in some state of repair and plowing them in the wintertime to keep them passable for emergency vehicles. But in essence, people could be getting a bill for that. Private roads belong to the people who live on it. And if the voters came out overwhelmingly and said that they don't want the town to weigh in and take those roads and improve them and maintain them, then it becomes the problem of the residents who live on that road. Mm-hmm. And there are many of them.
Later in the same episode, we welcomed back to BTM State Representative Demetrius Atzelis, who was again re-elected in the 2nd Barnstable District. Atzelis took us inside his election day and gave us his priorities for the upcoming legislative session.
I got picked up by a friend of mine at around 8 o'clock, and we went to each poll, spent about an hour at each one, waving at people, letting them know that we're out there. Got back home at around 5:30, 6 o'clock. Actually, no, it's probably closer to 7 o'clock because my wife was rushing me along to get in the shower and shave. And then we waited for the polls to close at 8 o'clock, really from 7:56 on, counting every minute. It's almost 8 o'clock, and we started getting results at about 8:20. And after the first result, which was my precinct and my opponent's precinct, where I bested him by about 300-plus votes, about 62 to 38%, we knew that victory was going to be ours that night. And we got the final results by about 20 of 9, quarter of 9, and we won every precinct, so it was very satisfying.
I wonder what your number one priority is for the new upcoming session, because you obviously can't ban texting while driving twice.
No, we can't do that twice. But, hey, we can go after using cell phones while driving. Thank God I just pulled over.
Yeah.
What we'll do is we have some pet legislation that we're very interested in, which is the Drug Offenders Registry Board for drug dealers. Mm-hmm. It's important to get people back to work. That's the most important thing, is get those who are out of work, those who want to work, get them back to work. And that's very important. We have to look at our homeowners insurance. We have to get a proper model, at least out there, so the industry, if they have to be shamed into admitting that they're using a faulty model, now let's get the Woods Hole Oceanographic involved. Let them have a model here for New England to show what the winds and the weather truly is here in Massachusetts and on Cape Cod. Also, I want to be a watchdog to fight for the ratepayers for electricity because it keeps on going up.
The election was the biggest story of the week by far, but following close behind was the news of an unexpected shakeup at the Hyannis Area Chamber of Commerce. On Tuesday evening, the Chamber's Board of Directors announced that Deb Converse was no longer the president and CEO after serving in that role since 2008. Wednesday morning, we spoke with Jessica Tinty, who's now the interim president and CEO, but at that point, she was as shocked and surprised at the news as anyone.
All I know is that it was the board of directors that made the decision, and that's as far as I know. That's what happened. They haven't really given us a whole lot of information.
Now, obviously, Jessica, you've worked with Deb pretty much ever since she was installed in her position. I wonder what your impressions are of her as a leader of the Hyannis Chamber, just from a personal standpoint.
From a personal standpoint, I think Deb was an amazing leader. She was great at her job. She was great at mentoring. She was actually helping me to maybe even move forward in my position or even at another position. So I looked up to her quite a bit. She's a wonderful person.
Certainly a good friend to this show, Barnstable This Morning, and a good friend to me personally. So I'm a little bit confused, and my opinion as well was that she'd been doing nothing but a very good job at the Hyannis Chamber. I wonder if going along there's anything that you might have detected, discontentment with the board or anything like that led to this.
To be honest with you, we don't. I mean, we were all shocked yesterday when some of the board members told us what was going on. It was complete shock. We didn't have any clue. It was quite surprising.
In your opinion, should she have been removed from her position?
Personally, no. I mean, she was my boss. She was great.
Hyannis Main Street Bid Executive Director Elizabeth Bane, who works just down the hall from the Hyannis Chamber offices, joined us later in the program and gave us her take on Converse's sudden departure.
Deb and I have worked together for a few years since she started, and she actually helped me when I became interim and executive director to come up to speed on issues like the homeless issue, which she really knows a lot about. Issues about meeting new businesses, the politicians, how to navigate through certain events. She's really, a seasoned, competent executive. And so she's been fabulous for me, like a big sister, So working with Deb has just been great. And personally, I'm unhappy about it. Leaving.
No, I was going to say, based on that, it'd be fair to say that you think that she did a fine job in her position. And so then, in your opinion, should she have been removed?
Well, I don't know because I'm not privy to the board meetings. I'm privy as a personal friend and a colleague. So I think, from what I see, I think it's all great. And, and so I'm surprised.
If you'd like to see any of these complete interviews, every episode of Barnstable This Morning is available to watch online. You can find them in the town's video archives at town.barnstable.ma.us. Well, that's all for now. Everybody have a great weekend. I'm Nick Cortez, and we'll see you next time on Barnstable Today.